Hello everyone, this is the Strategic Leadership Black Swan event presentation by 家乡王裴寒兄、润家启东、迪马 and 东岳豪。COVID-19 has swept the world in 2020 and had a huge impact on people all over the world. People's basic lives and various industries have brought tremendous impact. A large number of shopping malls have closed because of the virus, especially the catering and entertainment industry. In order to prevent the spread of the epidemic, the government has also restricted people's travel. In this epidemic, the retail industry also suffered a huge impact. The reason we choose costs as the analysis object is that supermarkets, as a retail industry that meets people's basic needs, did not close their doors during the epidemic, but operate normally, and create many new sales models to cater for the occurrence of COVID-19.
Now, I will start the analysis of the black swan event. According to the theory, the black swan event is a negative effect or occurrence that is extremely difficult to predict. There are three definition attributes of the black swan event. The first, an event that is unpredictable. Next, the black swan event results in severe and widespread consequences. Next, after the occurrence of a black swan event, people will rationalize the event as having been predictable, now known as the hindsight bias. The black swan event exists in various fields, and no matter whether it's financial market, business, economy, or personal life, it cannot escape its control. In fact, there are many real-life examples, such as the 9/11 attacks and the 2008 global financial crisis. In addition, the COVID-19 pandemic has been identified as an example of a black swan event by many sources. Nowadays, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on the Australian retail industry, especially supermarket. For course, there will be many scenarios in the future. The two future scenarios that the organization is most likely to face are economic recession in the long term and an unbalanced product supply and demand relationship in the short term. As for the economic recession, because the black swan event is of great influence to most fields and the market economy is bound to be negatively affected to some extent, organizational development must rely on the external market environment. So the situation of economic recession is a challenge that organizations must face. With the impact of the epidemic, people's consumption of public health products will increase, such as paper towels and disinfection supplies. Furthermore, people will tend to choose a lot of consumption and accumulated daily necessity to meet their own security needs. These irrational consumption behaviors will lead to a shortage of commodities, which is a serious short-term impact of the operation of the coast. Next, my team member will bring more detailed introduction to strategic options and strategic plan to deal with future scenarios.
Hello everyone, my name is Pei Hanxiong, and I'm going to talk about the short-term strategy and the implementation of retail industry under various situations. Due to the spread of virus and the panic psychology of human beings, most people tend to stock up on daily necessities, which leads to the great pressure on the supply of goods in traditional communities, retail stores, supermarkets, and pharmacies. Coles had to take measures to ease the pressure on its stock of toilet paper, which was being stockpiled on a massive scale. From the macro point of view, many small businesses are likely to be unable to survive because of the cash flow difficulties. On the other hand, Although the transaction volume of the emerging online stores has increased significantly, it has also attracted a number of new customers to join, but with the accompanying pressure from the supply chain. Cross-geographical purchases are limited by traffic controls, and there may even be orders that can't be delivered because of the decline of logistics capacity. This requires the senior executive or retail industry to make corresponding changes in strategy decisions. In the short term, retail stores need to control the cost side. A flexible management approach is critical to controlling labor costs, rental costs, and the non-income generating areas. Managers of retail enterprises are advised to consider reducing the number of employees in the stores and shortening the business hours to relieve the pressure of cash flow. To talk about the specific measures, the first one is restrictions. Retailers can set restrictions to deal with panic buying of necessities, relieve inventory pressures, and allow more time for supply. The second one is take care of vulnerable groups. Retail stores can set aside certain hours for certain groups of people, such as the elderly, or scale back the delivery service to give priority to those who can't who can't get to the supermarket by themselves. The third one is stagger the peak period. Limit the number of customers in a store to can help maintain a social distance. And in addition, like Coles, it advocates shopping in the round peak season to avoid the rush hours such as festivals.
If coronavirus persists for a long time and the social ban also lasts for 12 months or more, according to the AFI strategic framework, the most significant difficulty facing the retail industry will be the overall economic recession. For Coles, the overall economic recession will mainly have two effects. Firstly, the supply chain will become unstable. The coronavirus situation and the ban will also affect suppliers and manufacturers. So the uncertainty in the supply chain will increase, such as the manufacturer's output reduction or closure, or the supplier's import and export business is affected by the coronavirus. Secondly, the overall economic recession will directly affect Coles' turnover. Coles, as a large supermarket, has most of its commodities as necessity. However, a small number of the non-essential needs with higher unit price will decline, such as snacks, high-quality meat, and lectures from Coles' Lectureland. For the internal environment, the decline in turnover will have an impact on employees' income, even if these employees have undertaken high-risk work during the coronavirus. Therefore, there are three suggestions for specific measures for Coles. Firstly, in the face of the disruptive and catastrophic supply chain crisis that the coronavirus may bring, Coles should take precautions in advance. Firstly, Coles should pay more attention to policy changes and formulate emergency measures to deal with emergencies. Secondly, Coles should consider expanding the scope of the supply chain and promising local production companies to reduce risk. Secondly, Coles should pay more attention on the sale of daily necessities. For non-essential needs, Coles should use different methods to promote consumption, such as discount. Coles should also pay attention on the market trends and remove unpopular products in time to reduce cost. Third, Coles should focus on the personal development of employees. When the coronavirus continues for a long time, Coles' business model will change, such as online shopping appointments will bring new requirements for employees' workability. Coles should provide employees with training program and promoting opportunities. This will not only bring more labor to the new business model, but also can make up of the economic impact of the employees during the coronavirus.
This is Dongyu Hao. According to the previous slide's content, we can know the coping strategies proposed by K Supermarket in the face of COVID-19, including short-term and long-term strategic decisions. At the same time, we also made some evaluations of current strategies and predictions of future decisions. Faced with the current and future situation, we will give some suggestions for dealing with Black Swan events according to Ms. Berger's theory. These recommendations are aimed primarily at senior management. We will give different suggestions based on the 10 different role types, but the bottom line is that these 10 roles do not necessarily correspond to 10 people, as one person may play multiple roles. These roles are whole, they are interconnected and inseparable. We will advise senior management on the characteristics of each role, rather than giving advice to a specific senior management of codes. The first part is about the informational roles. In the first part, we will provide advice on information roles. First of all, it should be clear that senior leaders should pay attention to the macro and macroeconomic environment, with or without a Black Swan event, something like the COVID-19. So we hope that the managers of codes will be able to get a lot of information to help the enterprise make a positive response. So our suggestion is that they should set up an information gathering system to observe market changes through the information so as to achieve an early warning effect. The second part is about the interpersonal roles. It is well known that customer relations are important. A good interpersonal role should be able to conduct economic activities without infringing on the rights and interests of clients. In the face of the Black Swan event, we suggest that senior leaders should first collect consumer willingness in advance, and then better maintain the relationship between customers and enterprises. At the same time, it is also necessary to maintain the interests of employees. In the case of high pressure of work according to the enterprise's own situation, the establishment of a welfare mechanism. In short, maintaining relationships in many ways is the most important for this role. The third part is about the decisional roles. As for the decision-making role, we suggest that the decision maker should fully absorb the effective information brought to him by the previous two roles before making a decision, and take macro consideration. Suggest a decision-making role that fully demonstrates the consequence of a decision before ensuring a decision order. We should be aware of the overall situation and exercise macro control.
Through analysis, we can conclude that Coles used online shopping to meet customer needs during the epidemic. This method maintains a stable development of performance, but also brings many problems, such as the interruption of the supply chain and the obstruction of transportation methods. Looking into the future, if the epidemic continues to develop, it will lead to continued decline in cost performance and lower product prices. It also has a huge impact on employees. Coles has relatively efficient leadership in this Black Swan incident, responded in a timely manner in the face of sudden outbreaks, and solved the defect of supply chain interruption. In the case of market demand soaring, timely supply, but there are still many areas for improvement in the future.